Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So in today's video I'm going to be talking about an au pair versus a nanny. Here in America, I usually just say when people ask me what is an au pair, I'm just like, oh, it's like a nanny, because I know most of them, well, quite a few people actually don't know what an au pair is. Hence why I even did a video explaining what an au pair is. So I have like 5 points that I'm just gonna compare back to back, as in why it's better to get an au pair versus a nanny, or why it's better to get a nanny versus an au pair. So if you're questioning if you want an au pair or a nanny, this video will definitely help you. If you see me looking down, I have some notes because I do not want to forget stuff. However, if you're a host family and you've had a nanny or an au pair, or you're thinking of getting one, comment down below and let me know which one do you prefer. Do you prefer a nanny or do you prefer an au pair? This will help future or current host families. Okay, number one, I personally think, and I've spoken to quite a few host families because I'm on my 4th family right now, and I've also had like friends have host families and I always ask them this question: why an au pair instead of a nanny? And most of the answers I've got is that an au pair is actually cheaper. Now, hear what I'm saying, because I know some of you are probably like, no it's not, a nanny is cheaper. In some states, having a nanny is probably cheaper than having an au pair, because the nanny just goes home and the nanny has given you a super cheap rate. So yeah, sure, a nanny is cheaper in that situation, but I find an au pair cheaper, even though you still have to pay for their food, you still have to do their housing, their water, their bill. All that adds up. And even still, most of the families, with all that calculated, they said they find an au pair cheaper, because yes, they have to buy food and pay for all these bills and all these things for an au pair, whereas with a nanny, like their rates sometimes are super expensive, and they just like, depending on the state you're in, it could be actually super expensive to have a nanny, because also if you go over the hours, it's like super high. All these things, it adds up. Whereas here, you don't really feel it apparently, depending on your lifestyle. Like if you want to eat caviar for dinner and buy your au pair caviar, then maybe it's probably expensive to have an au pair. But it depends on your lifestyle. It depends on like your au pair's lifestyle. If your au pair only eats like, let's say, organic foods, then maybe it's going to be more expensive to you guys. But if your au pair is like chilled and you guys are a chilled family, you'll eat chilled, then it's not a problem. Number 2, au pairs are more flexible. This is another reason why families have gotten au pairs, is because au pairs are also more flexible than nannies. For example, nannies want to come work 8 to 5, for example, go home. They have a life here, they have family here, they have friends here. With au pairs, it's different. Au pairs come here, they live with you. They're more flexible. Let's say, for example, there's an emergency. You meant to come home, you get into a car accident. Your au pair is there to help you and save. You don't have to be stressing now about, oh my gosh, who's going to be with my kids, whatever. And yes, it may go over your hours. You can discuss it with your au pair. You're out to see that whole thing. But with an au pair, they way more flexible. Like you could do the whole, oh, my kid goes to school for an hour in the morning, the au pair is there, and then the au pair picks the kid up, brings the kid home, does things. You're stuck in traffic, that whole thing. Whereas with nannies, the hours once again add up, so you have to pay them per hour. Don't take advantage of au pairs because you know they're flexible, because it'll come back to bite you. But let's say you have an au pair and like you get up in the morning and you're like sick, you can't do something for the kids, and the nanny has another gig, for example. Nanny has another gig, and nannies also work for other families. So there's going to be times where you're going to need a nanny outside of your usual routine. And they're like, hey, I have another family. Unless it's like you have a great nanny, you pay them well, money talks, so you're not worried. The nanny is waiting for you to, like to call them in a second. Then it's great. But if you don't, with an au pair, they're in your house. And it's like with me, for example. If I see my host mom is meant to be looking after my host kid, for example, and she's super sick, I'll be like, hey, go sleep for 2 hours, go sleep for an hour, go chill, I got it. He's watching TV, I'm in the house, I'll just keep checking on him, that kind of stuff. But I'm not like working. But I would do it because I have a great relationship with my host family. And that's another thing, you build relationships with this. Whereas with nannies, it's a whole different thing. They're out the house, they don't like see what's happening. It's like having a second pair of eyes in the house. A third pair, because it's like mom, dad, and then the au pair. It's like having a third pair of eyes in the house, just helping notice things that maybe you may miss while you at work, with things that you would overlook because you're busy, and parents are busy. But having an au pair makes it like easier for you. However, not saying that nannies, if you have a living nanny, it's the same, exact same situation. If you have a living nanny, it's also more flexible. I'm talking about nannies that come in the morning and go home. I'm not talking about living nannies at this point. Number 3, it's a cultural exchange. And I touched on it a bit. Like here, I find nannies come in the morning, and I've had a few nannies back home. They come in the morning, they sit with the kid the whole day if it's a baby, or if you go to school, they'll help you at your homework, they'll play games with you, whatever, but then they go. With au pair, it's like a cultural exchange. Like you come with a different accent, your food taste is different. That au pair gets to taste the type of food you make. You get to see the au pairs through, like you get to see things through the pair's point of view. So like there'll be certain things in this house that I try and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so good. And they like my host family will see it through my eyes, or like certain situations where they'll respond a certain way and I'll respond a certain way. And for me, I'm like, why? Or they'll be like, why? You know, it's like you get to learn different cultures. They taught me about America, I've taught them about South Africa. You get to learn so much. You get to build relationships even with your host kids. You get to like, they'll hear you pronounce a word and like, why you say it like that? And then you explain, this is how we speak, and then you learn how they speak. And so it's like a great experience to travel but not travel, because you're in your house, you're learning about other countries. You're not limited to just, oh, this is just America. Especially if you're a family that's very diverse, or you like to be diverse, you like to learn about other cultures, this is great for you. However, if you're a family that doesn't want to learn about other cultures, you just genuinely don't get, you just want childcare, to be honest, I would say this may not be for you, because you may get a nanny, you may get an au pair, and then she comes and she wants to learn the culture, but you're not feeding her the culture, and so already there's like expectations not met, and it could cause rematch. The au pair could just want to leave, she may not be fulfilled, happy, and you may be irritated because you're like, why is this au pair asking me about these American things? She should know this by now. And it's like, no, like she came because she wants to learn it. And another thing is also like having international au pairs is they come to travel. So sometimes if you want somebody who's going to be in your house, focus on your kids only, and not have a life outside of that, then maybe don't get an au pair, because a nanny will come, do their job, and go home. If you want that situation where you want to keep it work, then a nanny will be great for you. Because au pairs, you build like relationships. You want to travel with the host families, and I know some nannies don't travel with their host families, like unless you ask, you're going on a work trip and you need a nanny to travel with you. But most nannies don't travel, whereas with au pairs, they like to travel with their host families, they like to hang out with their host families. And so if that's something that's gonna bother you, don't get an au pair. Okay, number 4, au pairs only do child related things. I do know that nannies, when you get a nanny, you can say, I've seen a lot of descriptions, and I know like with past nannies that like a few of my host families have had, their nannies had to do light work around the house. Like this one family I'm thinking about, they had nannies and the nanny would do light work around the house. And when I came, they had 2 other au pairs, and those 2 other au pairs rematched. And then I came and I noticed why those au pairs were getting frustrated is because this host family thought, oh, because she's an au pair and she lives in, and we had a nanny that lived in also, she's gonna do the same thing. And so they were getting frustrated, and I was like, no, it's different. We're not meant to do heavy labor. We're not meant to do like light, because they wouldn't say like light work, like, oh, you could just wash me and my husband's shirts and like our washing and put it in the machine. And I'm like, no. It's one thing if the au pair is like, hey, my host had shirts hanging around, some of his clothes are here, I'm just gonna put it in the machine to fill this load, or she doesn't mind just throwing it because it is in her way already. That's a different situation. But being told that every single week you're gonna wash your host family's clothes, you're gonna vacuum all the floors in the whole house, you're gonna mop, you're gonna go grocery shopping, that nannies can do because it's part of the job. And when nannies accept the job, they accept it that way, and they ask for pay, and there's like a whole arrangement thing. Whereas with au pairs, that legally is not allowed. Like we are not allowed to be maids, we are not allowed to be personal shoppers. Now you do run errands, like as I said, you build a relationship. So if my host family is like busy, like if my host parents are super busy, I'm like, listen, the kid needs this, can I go buy this? Or we need bread in the house, I am gonna go buy it, you guys reimburse me. Or if you have a credit card for the house, you take it the credit card. Now that's not like you helping out as a family member or like somebody in the house. But if that's your like job, it's your description, every single week you have to buy, you have to cook, you have to be chef, maid, cleaner, all these things in one, then maybe a nanny would be great for you. Because I've seen I've seen on all these nanny groups, and I've seen all these host families. I even know host families friends who have nannies that cook for the family, they clean for the whole family, they do the washing, clean the house, cook for the whole family, and they come in the morning and then they drop the kids off at school, and then they pick the kids up at school and take them to errands. If that is what you want, then I would say the nanny route is great, because au pairs, unless you have this personal conversation with your au pair and they agree, it's a different story. But au pairs are not going to want to cook for the whole family, clean for the whole family, go run all your errands, go buy all your things. That's just, I'm yet to see an au pair who would willingly do that, unless, once again, you have a great relationship. Like all these things I've mentioned, I really don't like mind helping if my host mom is like in a jam and she's like super busy at work, or let's just say I see like, oh my gosh, we're running short of this, or she just needs a little push. Yeah, I can, like, I don't mind coming alongside and helping her. And even my previous host family, because those two host moms are great. Now my other two, never, because they would take advantage of it. Okay, and my last thing, number 5, the reason why I like compare au pair to nanny is like the friendship. They are amazing nannies. I'm not saying, like, living nannies, you can create a great friendship also, and even nannies that come and go home. However, I find with nannies, and I would be the same, because in South Africa I nannied, and thinking back of those families in South Africa, it's the exact same thing. I would come, look after the kid, and just go. We'd like talk here and there, like, hi, you're so cute, whatever, whatever, whatever. But it's like small talk. We would never really have like deep conversations with the families. Whereas as with an au pair, because you live with them, you see them 24/7, or you see them like, they see you with your hair messy, you see them with their hair messy, you get to eat food, and you like talk around the kitchen. You build like a relationship and a friendship where like sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, or you watch movies together, or like you'll talk about something, like if let's say there's something going viral on TikTok, my host mom will send this music like, did you see this? And then I'd be like, what? And then when she comes home, we'll be like, I can't believe, or we'd be like, let's try this food, because she knows maybe I like trying new foods, or she'll send me a TikTok, or I'll send her a funny TikTok. It's just things that are like, you gain a friendship and it's more fun because you live with these people. Whereas I found even when I was a nanny, I said like I hardly got to this depth with the families because I came to my job and left. Whereas you can't really do that as an au pair because you're always with them. But yeah, if you are a host family or like a past host family, which one do you prefer? Do you prefer having an au pair, or do you prefer having a nanny? Comment below and ask me any questions, and if I don't have the answers, I will find the answers for you. And do not forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.